Welcome everyone. I am Nellan Hunt in New York for We News. Today we will be talking with one of the creators of a website, a brand that almost anyone, if you're West Indian, knows. It's Trini Jungle Juice. Stephen Chukwan is with me today to talk about his and his siblings' media empire, if I will, and we'll find out maybe some of their secrets. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hey, no, thanks for having me. So happy to be here and share this this time here with you.
So, why Trini Jungle Juice? How did Trini Jungle Juice come about, and how did the name come about?
Okay, so Trini Jungle Juice, actually, before we were a website, we were actually a promotion. Trini Jungle Juice is actually the last party that we did in Trinidad and Tobago before I had left Trinidad. And what happened was, the name of the party was called Jungle Juice, and we went to the party was in Highland Park, and during that party, the judge was summoned with a petition from all of the residents that they want to have the party, right? So what we did was we went to court and we were like really pushing for the event, and the judge kind of made a leniency call and said, well, here's what. Remember in Trinidad, you could have events up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning easily. But the judge says that you will have to finish the party by 2 o'clock. And I breathed a sign of relief, but remember in those days too, we're talking about like 91, right? No, maybe a little after 91, maybe 95.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually sweating bullets because I was thinking, well, if everybody starts arriving at 12, 1 o'clock, then what are we going to do, right? Because everybody's going to be like, the party's over. So my mother, she runs a cafeteria, and we made a lime juice that was like mind-blowing, right? And what we did was we actually spiked the lime juice and made a jungle juice from it. A really, really brilliant jungle juice. And what we did is we filled up these 5-gallon containers, and we had girls, as soon as you come in, just pouring it into your mouth. So as people were coming in, the event was rocking, and by the time we closed off, people was chipping and singing going down the street. And I was like really breathing a sign of relief. I was like, thank God, the event went off well. In fact, so much so, it actually made the newspapers the next day that it was a brilliant event, but it finished way too early. So people went on to the base and other events after that. But I was thinking, we held our own. We had a brilliant event, and I'm happy that I'm done with Highland Park.
Because of course, this would now mean that you needed a larger venue for the next one.
Yeah. Back in the day too, everything was backyard jam and it was open air and brilliant.
Yes.
We had a spectacular venue. It was a brilliant venue, but a lot of elderly people, so it didn't pose too well for them. The bass coming into the bedrooms, but we had all the paraphernalia for Jungle Juice, the event, sitting there. So we had everything stacked in the drawers and everything. And as the internet age came about, we're talking about now the early 2000s. Andre and I decided, well, here's what, let's use this stuff, and can he repurpose the Jungle Juice event we did to create Trini Jungle Juice? And I said, sure, let's do it. And then when we started doing this, a lot of we started realizing the traffic started getting really heavy on the website, and more people started viewing it, but it was mostly our family pictures, and we did have Trini Jungle Juice set up based on the event Jungle Juice, because we actually had a link. And I would be willing to say we were the first party that actually had a website link back in 95, right?
Oh.
In fact, so much so I'll get the flyer for you and I'll share it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because I did see it in one of those old school books where they actually showed the flyer for it. And it was like, oh, the old school hits, and our event was in there. And I was like, oh, there it is.
Isn't it amazing to have the 90s and 2000s referred to as old school? That's when you know That's when you know you're maturing.
Definitely.
So you had this wonderful event, you had all this stuff, and you said, we have to do this again. Now, before when you and I were talking, I said, I know you can't give out any trade secrets, but to me, your trade secret number one was a good boozy drink upon entry. But I'm not asking for the details, I'm not asking for the ingredients, but I think that's trade secret number one. So as time goes by, maybe, you might share a little thing here and there that we realize these are the things you need for having the brand that you now have. And so many times I really enjoy success stories. And I always warn people, though, success stories are not overnight. There is so much that goes on. It is long, it is arduous. There are days when you feel like this is it, but you keep going. And then you have a product like a jungle juice.
Yeah, I would say, in keeping with the old adage, it takes 20 years to become an overnight success. Wow. And when I was in UE, we were the first people to help out with Johnny Sung to do the UE splash. So if you look on that, you would have actually seen, it wasn't called Jungle Juice at the time. We were running under a different promotion called CID. Mm-hmm. But, we eventually morphed from CID into Jungle Juice because that was the last party that we had. And we've been working, mentored by Chinese Laundry. We were working closely with Signal to Noise. And all of the people in the industry, Rude Boy, Andre, and all of the old heads, we were very young coming out of school, and they were actually working with us because we used to go and leverage a lot of the DJs coming out of the Chinese Laundry mass camp, the Chinese Laundry camp, to be able to field a lot of our events.
Right.
Yeah, so we were actually promoters before we were a website.
Check it. Hey. Step. Times are changing. This is a different day. I know waiting. Let we embrace the change. Now we vetting harder than everybody. So when last I went to a private party, a partying right home. Give me the passcode. I'm vetting on my phone. Instagram live mode. I in the right zone. It don't matter where we are. Let we start. Living room is my playground. I watch it turn to the stadium. I'm vetting out with the day ones, and we don't fret when the rain comes. My living room is my playground. I watch it turn to the stadium. We mash up life any day come, and we don't fret when the rain comes. This is our private party. Private party. This is our private party. Everybody jump down on the ground, all on the ground, all in the pillows. Come down on the ground, all on the ground, mass in the pillows. Look at feathers all over we, in this private party. Look at people online with we, in this private party. So much vibes and I can't believe it. Private party, mad, we too bad, Step you up in my private space, 6 feet from me, wind your waist. Flip camera, don't hide your face. Show me some private ways. Line up the bumper right there for me. You're cutting it smooth like Hennessy. Flip camera and wind your waist. Give me a private place. A partying right home. Give me the passcode. I'm fetting on my phone. Instagram live mode. I in the right zone. It don't matter where we are. Let we start. Living room is my playground. I watch it turn to the stadium. I'm fetting out with the day ones, and we don't fret when the rain comes. My living room is my playground. I watch it turn to the stadium. We mash up life any day come, and we don't fret when the rain comes.
Welcome back. I'm Nellan Hunt in New York here for We News. We're talking with one of the creators of Trini Jungle Juice, Stephen Chukwan. Thank you, Stephen. We were just about to start to talk about how the Jungle Juice website came about. And for a while there, I remember seeing everywhere, if Jungle Juice covered it, it was the place to be. How did you manage to be able to wield that amount of influence and power, not overnight through all of your hard work, but how did the website come about to now promote your attendance or invitation to all of the parties that were the parties to be at?
I think being a promoter really helped us, actually. So we had a lot of relationships with a lot of the event promoters. We were also respected in the community. And also we knew a lot of people. You know, that was just a byproduct of being a promoter, just being able to know a lot of people. And I think being supported by everybody really, really helped us. You know, when we went in and we were photographing and capturing the essence of the events, especially like in the early days, like with Vail Vibe, like Vail wouldn't let any other promoter into their events, but they trusted us and they knew us. So, you know, we also came highly recommended from Sprang out of DC, where, you know, he kind of knew us as well. So all of these things played in, and we just got a lot of love and support. When we were in the event, and I always say that this is one of our key marquee things that you can recognize Trini Jungle Juice for, is that although we are photographers and we take the business seriously, we try to elevate the event and the promotion, because we know what a promoter will want, having been promoters ourselves. And we always try to elevate the energy in the party, you know, like if a Trini Jungle Juice photographer is in the event, you'll always see us working with the crowd and trying to be with everybody and trying to make sure that the energy is good. And our photographs reflect that as well. And when you produce good work, your employer, who is the event promoter in this case, appreciates it, because we are helping him as much as he's helping us. And in shaking hands in that way, a lot of people appreciated what we were doing as we started spreading the culture, you know.
Very interesting, because I always got the impression, and it is not a judgment, that you all were having a way better time than the actual guests at these parties, because your brother Andre, he's not with us today, he'll be on at another time. Andre always takes a picture like this. And I would say, well, how come he getting invited to, he is basically being invited to party? That does not work.
Yeah, you know, he has the best job in the world.
Yeah.
He really does.
And now you guys have gone on, you have moved on to regionally, because initially it was just coverage of events in Trinidad and Tobago, and then you've moved on to regional events. You know, it's really a wonderful position to be in, to have people say, we want you to bring this to the world.
It happened, you know what, that was actually a vision of ours. So when we started doing it, we started in Trinidad, but a lot of us we've always been a global family. We've been traveling a lot, and you know, we are based, we're nomads, right? We live everywhere. And if you look at the original tagline in Trini Jungle Juice, it says Trini Jungle Juice, taking you global. And when we said that, everybody in Trinidad was like, well, what does that mean? You know, it's inconsequential, who cares? You know? And then we said, no, it's important, because we live in a global community, and we live in a world that will be globalized, especially because of the digital medium. And everybody was like, oh, well, that's not really that important. And then 10 years later, they were like, well, I see the value in it, but it doesn't really impact me, right? And now, another decade later, I think they realize that it is important what we're doing. And what they've seen as I mean, originally Trinidad was the Mecca and still is the Mecca of Carnival. But between Trinidad, New York, and Notting Hill, right? Between the Labor Day and Notting Hill, there was nothing really about Carnival outside of that. And then we came up and we helped to grow Florida from 80 people, I remember in the early days. And now Florida has over 35, some 40,000 people. Right?
Wow.
Same thing. We went into Houston. We did the same thing there. We had a Juve out there in Houston with 20,000 people. We went in with, you know, we started a carnival in Bermuda, and they went from 0 to basically 10,000 people on the road in year 2. You know, so we've helped to grow the Cayman Islands. We've helped to grow so many carnivals all over the world. Orlando, and many other carnivals that didn't even exist. And because we've spread across so many carnivals, we give our consultancy for free. We tell everybody that you get the consultancy for free. You just have to pay for us to come and help you out. But we'll give you all the advice for free.
For everyone, you've heard it. If you have an event that you want to be out there, to be global, to be branded universally, Trini Jungle Juice would do it. And the consultancy is free.
We'd be helping you out. Because as we grow this thing, it's just more and more carnivals and more events in the world for more and more people to enjoy the best of what the Caribbean has to offer. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show people, hey, this is what Trinidad is about. And, you know, maybe this might be jumping the gun because that's actually what Caribbean Rich is all about. Our product, Caribbean Rich, you would have seen that in our merchandising. That is the whole theme of Caribbean Rich. That's the essence of it.
We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Caribbean Rich some more and the Trini Jungle Juice family umbrella, which now seems to be a tourism industry driver. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back. You're watching We News.
Up the street, we are in the back. We go tingy licky, tingy licky, tingy licky. Israel vibes and we beating iron right here in the back. Hey, go straight in the kitchen, grab a pot and then start beating. You hear me? Level. Alright, the backyard making their own rhythm section. Alright, section 1. Here one way to sing for me. Sing this.
Let me go.
Ping, 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 pa-ting. Nice.
I like it.
Section 2. Join in with this one. Hey. Bang, bang, bing, bing, bang, bang. Nice. Section 3. The sweetness of the sections. Hear what you're singing. Nice. Oh, you're singing good. Hey. Let me jam. I can bring my friends and you can bring your friends and we friends will all line together. Just decide who homes we line in. This place are real vibes. Right here in the back. Jam. We go tingy licky, tingy licky, tingy licky. Israel vibes and we beating lion right here in the back. Jam. Hey, go straight in the kitchen, grab a pot and then start beating. You hear me? This ain't no carnival. We ain't really like it, but we got to accept it. They can't keep me locked down too long, you know. We're right in the backyard. Lock up all your door. Lock up all your gate. If the police come, give them something to eat. We can't take it lock up all the time. The spirit is carnival. Put you up. Bolo que my rose fresh thing. She's
are done, we have to drink straight. Look, the police coming, low down the music, the police is coming. I ain't taking no luck up falling. You know they go call for.
Welcome back, you're watching Me News. I'm Nalan Hunt. With me today is one of the creators of Trini Jungle Juice, Stephen Tukwan. Stephen, you have been really a great source of information and inspiration as to how you can take something that started off as fun and then grow it into something global. And when people hear global, it could be an intimidating undertaking, but you talked about so much as just saying, we want people to know who we are. We want people to know who Trinidad is. We want people to know that who the Caribbean is. And now with Caribbean Rich, there's going to be more of that. How does that facet of the brand work?
Interesting, because we started off as Trini Jungle Juice, but as we started interacting more and more on a global scale, we wanted to encompass more and more of the Caribbean because we met more and more of the Caribbean out there.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, we realized that the whole industry of soca was way beyond Trinidad. You know, you started having a lot of great music coming out of Barbados. You have a lot of other Caribbean islands, you know, from St. Kitts, Nevis, even the French islands of Martinique. Everybody's really enjoying soca music and enjoying Carnival. And then we realized, you know what? We have to represent the whole of the Caribbean. It's not just Trinidad and this, you know, even Guyana is a huge part of the soca scene. So
they have a carnival now.
Yes, Guyana, exactly. And we were supposed to represent in Guyana, but we had a clash of events, but we still working with Chris out in Guyana. Big up to Chris. And
yes,
we will be in Guyana for, Soca Rave and Guyana's Carnival.
We've heard a lot of the Caribbean creativity and what goes into exporting that to the world. How difficult is it to manage the business side of a brand like Trini Jungle Juice? How do you organize and arrange and make sure everyone is where they're supposed to be when you're looking at a brand that essentially promotes joy, fun, culture, dance, Caribbean life?
Yeah. So this is where I have to thank my upbringing. My father, as an entrepreneur, he always said, hey, you have to, if you really want to do something and make a change, you got to be an entrepreneur. You just can't go work for somebody. So I want to thank him for that. And St. Mary's College for providing a foundational education for us to really seek knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not going to call the company that I currently work for because I don't think that would be right. But I work for a Fortune 25 company here in America. And because of that, I have gained a lot of the way corporate structure should be managed. And in merging what I know in terms of the corporation and the way to structure people, processes, and products, right? And taking the Caribbean product itself and actually converting it into a product that we can actually export. I think blending those two helped to bring a business model to Trini Jungle Juice. Because originally, when we were just a website with photos, everybody says, so what exactly do you do? Yeah. And we had to sit down and think, well, okay, if there was a hole and Trini Jungle Juice fell into that hole and disappeared, what would it mean to the Caribbean people? And what would it mean to the Caribbean industry? And if it is that we don't leave a gaping hole if we fall off the map, then we are not truly having impact. And we sit and think about that as we go about in our execution day to day.
Words to live by. We're now going through a global event. I won't call the name. I'm not giving it any more life than it already has. How has Trini Jungle Juice rebranded or re-envisioned its future? And what are you all doing for the rest of this year into next year and beyond, given the challenges that this global event has now pushed us towards?
Yeah. So the pandemic takes out entertainment first. and the entertainment industry will be the last to come back.
Wow.
So, yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And we always had in our mind to do a merchandising piece, to, but we never had enough time to be able to sit down and do it. And when the pandemic came, we had to pivot. And part of that pivoting was to create our merchandising line. And in there, we put in a whole bunch of collections, which kind of draws into our creativity in terms of our cultural vision without us having to be on the road. So in there, you'll see a line for what Granny says, which kind of stems back onto what do Caribbean people grow up saying, what is intrinsic to the Caribbean, what do we, come see, you boy along like Baji, you'll see a lot of different things in there. I even have one called Wrong and Strong, right?
Wow.
You always, you always wrong and strong, what happened to you, But we try to put also a positive spin on it, because as I wear Wrong and Strong, everybody would ask me, oh, why are you wearing that? It has a negative connotation. And I'm like, listen, as an entrepreneur, you're going to be told that what you're going to do is going to be wrong and it won't work. So to be wrong and strong really means to have a belief and a passion and an ambition into, if you truly believe that what you're going to do is right, then you need to stand by your belief and do it. Right? So wrong and strong in that concept for us, even boiled down like Baji, people will be like, oh, well, that means you get humble. And I'll be like, not really. In order to boil down like Baji, it means that you have now acclimatized to what the message you've received, and realize that you must emotionally regulate yourself in order to deal with the situation. Hence, you were able to de-escalate your emotions and boil down like Baji. So it's not a negative thing. Today, people call it, you need to do mindfulness. But what you've really done is you boil down like Baji.
So Stephen, you all are now philosophers.
A lot of the stuff that we have out there have meaning behind it,
Yes.
We have a whole cultural piece too with Tantan, Saraboy, the Jambalasi, the Moko Jambi, the Fancy Indian. I mean, the whole works out there. We have a lot of different stuff, all different aspects that represent the culture. And you will also recognize that it's not just Trinidad we focused on. We have a lot of Barbados culture in there. We have a lot of Guyanese culture in there, and other cultures that totally represent what the Caribbean hodgepodge of soca music encapsulates.
Stephen, this, unfortunately, we're nearing the end here. And I always say in these interviews, you reach the part and you go, well, maybe we have like 2 or 3 more hours. But you know what? That's just to keep everybody coming back for more, to learn more, and to enjoy more. I want to thank you so very much, Stephen, of Trini Jungle Juice. I want a piece of pork.
This is one of our lines. This is from the Christmas line.
Yeah.
One of my friends nicknamed me Pork back in school because there was a Jamaican comedy, and he was like, oh, you look like Popeye, so I'm going to call you Pork. And I was like, oh, okay, well, here's this t-shirt for you. And it's obviously a Trinidad thing, right? In Trinidad, we always want a piece of pork for Christmas, so you get a piece of pork for Christmas.
Stephen, thank you so very much. I'd like to wish you guys continued success. We are going to be looking out for Trini Jungle Juice. Everybody, check out the line. It's fun. It's entertaining. There's a little wisdom in it. On behalf of everyone here at We News, I'd like to say thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe and have a good day.
Thank you.